Good afternoon. Welcome back to Driving Maul on Loud Radio, where blokes judge rugby. Sharky.
Hello, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. It's been quite an entertaining afternoon worth of Ashes cricket, really.
It has. I was actually going more on the entertainment in terms of the final lines test. That was an absolute humdinger.
Oh, that too.
Crazy, eh?
Plenty to talk about in that, and plenty of drama coming out of the land down under after all of that in this week.
I'm sorry, but it's a no-brainer. That was always going to happen.
But let's first talk about the future of South African rugby, because it's the 50th year of Craven Week.
And you just pointed out a youngster that I've been watching now fly for the Lions. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, his name's Innocent Radebe. He's the Sensithians pivot, and it's his 5th consecutive year of representing Lions in age group rugby. He went to under 13 Craven Week or Coca-Cola Week, whatever it's called. The under 16 Grown Comma Week 2 years running, and then he's done 2 years of Craven Week proper. Big, quick, spots a gap. Played out of position last year at 12 and didn't reckon he had such a great tournament. He's running at 10 this year and certainly looks the good. And we get to see him line up against Province in the unofficial final of Craven Week on Saturday, because both those sides are unbeaten after Lions just edged the Cheetahs in a bit of a humdinger now that we've been watching in between the cricket histrionics.
Yeah, I tell you, Innocent was he's a big kid. That's one thing for real, but seems to have some decent hands, and obviously been playing fly for some time. He can clearly pass the ball and spot a gap. But looking forward to seeing them up against Western Province on Saturday. But Province, flipping out, what a great tournament they've had. Yeah,
well, they've been exceptional. Their first game, and I mean, we just pick up a few results, but they thumped the Pumas 40 points to 24. Highlight of that game, a youngster at centre named Daniel du Plessis scoring 4 tries, son of the great Michael du Plessis, nephew of the greater Carl du Plessis. Yeah. 4 tries, 4 Province. You must see the size of this kid at outside centre.
Got gas?
Big, strong, bulky, quick, beautiful, slick hands. He's got the full package.
Nice. That fullback for Free State as well. I'm going to get his name. I'm trying to get his name just now. Also, 6 foot something. There's some big kids coming out of here.
Yo. Indeed. And then the other one that's worth talking about is the state of EP rugby at schoolboy level, because they're generally known as a strong schools area. But both their games so far have ended in disappointment. They were thumped earlier today by... you see, now I've gone and lost it. They lost their first game against Free State 32-21 on day 2. And then they got trounced today by Southwestern Districts, 40 points to 14, I think was the score.
Yeah, we're having a chat of it. I'm still... SWD still have a very, very strong... have some very strong schools. And I think as a side, they're pretty decent in Craven Week. And I mean, by decent, I mean they can cause an upset and pretty handy. I think they've still got 2 of the top 10 schools in George area, don't they?
Schools rugby, where are you?
Well, anyway, you just carry on talking to the computer. But it's been interesting. So is that it? It's 4 days. It's wrapped up now, and then Saturday is there only one game on Saturday?
No, Saturday is it's basically a whole pile of games, but the big one is the unofficial final, which the two best sides from the opening 4 days or whatever it is get to contest the final, and those are going to be the Lions and Province, because they're the 2 unbeaten sides from the big provinces. I know there might be others floating around that aren't, but yeah, big disappointment for EP and KZN, both losing their opening games. I just want to have a look. Top 20. I'd imagine that Otanikwa High is SWD, and they are ranked 3rd.
PW Buerta?
Not in there at the moment. Can you imagine going to that fucking school though?
Yeah.
Hey? Did they really name a school after that to us?
Yeah.
Either way, other games, as we said, the Bulls thumped KZN 46-22 in their opening game, and then they played against Province yesterday and got absolutely smashed by the Western Province youngsters.
Couldn't happen to us.
30 points to 6 is the precursor to the big Stormers Bulls derby at Newlands on Saturday. As we said, names to look out for. And the other one is the SA Schools prop, a guy named Ox Unche, who plays for Free State.
He just came off the bench now,
Yeah.
He's
Big, solid looking youngster. But not like big like most 18-year-old props where it's just some fat fuck that's been put in a pair of rugby shorts. He actually looks the goods.
Yeah.
And so looking forward to seeing more of him. Innocent Radebe, write that name down, and Daniel Duplessis. Those are my 3 picks out of what I've seen from Craven Week so far this week. Western Province Club Rugby. Only 2 games again this week, and only 1 game this week coming with varsity holidays and now Ramadan and all of those things.
There's quite a lot. The weekend passed. There were 2 Super A games that went down. Tigerberg SK, I did mention it. Quite a sort of a derby-ish type game. Always a lot in it. Tigerberg hosting SK Warmers. SK still pushing for hopefully another trip to the Community Cup, and went to Tigerberg, and Tigerberg, bottom of the log, gave SK 34-25, which is a turn up for the books if you're looking at a bottom side upsetting a fourth place side. Great result for Tigerberg. They needed that. And then Hammies hosted Belleville and gave them pretty much what the guys expected. 78-7, scoring
on the back of their 64 whatever it was the week before. They're in a rich vein of form. Leaves them third on the log, 1 less game played than Durban, but Durban are 7 points clear of them in terms of that race for the Community Cup spots.
Yeah, that's a shoe-in for that you just qualify, and then technically the wild card should, and I've heard a number of guys from SA Rugby say that will be the second placed team. Will go through. So right now SK Warmers are 5th with 35, and Hammies are 3rd with 37.
But SK have played 3 more games.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they're not going to be able to catch Hammies at all. And Hammies are the only, there's 2 sides playing in 1 game, and Hammies are involved in that this weekend. And they travel to Belhar, which is going to be a tough game. There's no doubt about it. And it's also a perfect opportunity to get 5 points, but it's also a great opportunity to slip up.
Indeed it is. So lots going on there, and then obviously the schools rugby will get back underway when the schools go back next week, and hopefully we'll start picking up some information and giving you some of that stuff to chat about. I think we should play some music, and when we come back we can talk about everything that's going on down under. You're listening to Driving Maul on Loud Radio, where blokes judge rugby. Welcome back to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. Twitter is a buzz with the banter between the Poms and the Aussies about the Ashes. I tweeted it on Tuesday or something. I said I can't wait. It's going to be 5 test matches of highly entertaining dialogue between Muppets on Twitter. But let's get on.
Why don't you make a cricket show?
Yeah, but all of this was preempted by the Lions series in Australia. Now,
imagine the bullshit that's happening on the field now, though.
But what did? Sorry.
No one can see what you see. Talk.
I know. No. Well, Mindy's been having a debate, and she says, actually, you started at England. You deported us 230 years ago. Not our fault. You deported the ones that could come back and smash you.
That's quite funny.
But yeah, the Lions, what the hell do we know? We sat here and called a close test match, and I believe we both went for the Wallabies win.
But I did say don't be surprised if someone runs away with it. I didn't say that. I think I said don't be surprised if someone wins by 2 tries or so.
But to pick up a 4-try bonus point in the third test of a Lions series,
to comfortably take it away.
You know, totally. And I mean, let's be honest, it was a thoroughly entertaining game for the neutral, because England looked to be Wales looked to be cruising to the Lions looked to be cruising to victory, just knocking over penalties, Corbisiero try, and they were 19-3 up just before half time. James O'Connor with a try brings it back to 19-10. 2 penalties for the Wallabies in the second half, 19-16. And
it's tight. We're good to go.
And you think, these Lions are choking. This is all on. The Wallabies are going to steal this.
How many people at Sydney? 83,000?
Yeah, something like that. And but no, not to be. After that, 3 quick tries. George North, Jamie Roberts, and
Johnny Sexton.
Johnny Sexton. But let's all be honest, Lee Halfpenny was
Correct.
the catalyst for the lot.
He got man of the series and fully deserved. I think he was sublime, and it was evident in all the games. I think his what I've really enjoyed about him is his strength with ball in hand, and that clearly came to the fore on Saturday. But I was well impressed with Jamie Roberts' try, and as far as I know, Halfpenny wasn't involved in that, but it was just the angle that he came in, and he's a big guy, 12, to come in at that line. It just gave someone a smack in the face. Thanks for coming under the poles. It was all very clear when Sexton went over for the fourth try. With obviously that was 100% set up by Halfpenny. The boys were amped and good to go, and the Aussies were deflated and in a state of shock.
Indeed, but the shockwaves didn't stop there really, because look, it's the Lions' first series win since '97. Cracker of a series, kept
More
us.
importantly, we weren't the last people to lose to them. That's all that really matters.
This is true. The net result, though, is that Dingo Deans has been shoved overboard as Ewan McKenzie was boarding the teetering vessel that is Australian rugby on Tuesday.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was signing that contract during the game.
Well,
Last 10 minutes of the game, you're getting a fax or you're getting a mail. Just sign this puppy for us, send it back, big guy.
Well, it's now come out in the wash that apparently Jake White was approached already in February about whether he'd be interested. And White and McKenzie both put their presentations to the ARU on Monday morning. They weren't asked to prepare that shit on Sunday night.
A preemptive strike.
But, what it does mean is Ewan McKenzie is the new Wallaby coach. Dingo Deans is gone. And it means a potential reprieve for a certain Quade Cooper, who has gone on record to say he reckons he'll get a fair go now.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, Quade Cooper, between him and Wilgenia, single-handedly brought Ewan McKenzie his Super Rugby title, and the Reds' second, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a no-brainer. I popped a couple of things out on Twitter to find out what were the three things you would change before Saturday's game. Obviously, a lot of them were having another fly half, predominantly Quade Cooper at fly half, but there were a few guys who actually knew what they were talking about and wanted a couple of changes up front, which was a no-brainer considering how badly they got scrummed. However, the best of the lot was a new coach, and they got what they wanted. But I mean, the thing is, and everyone was talking about the backline. Everyone was talking about Quade Cooper. Why isn't he there? Why don't they have a specialist 10? And James O'Connor. If someone says to you, listen, you're going to take fly half, and well, maybe I don't want to take it, you'd never say that to your coach. You'd take fly half, and he would have scored all his tries and most of his points from the wing or from fullback. That he didn't have to play 10 to score those points, and I think they would have offered another sort of attacking option with a better fly half. So, but the big thing, and everyone was talking about the back line, the big thing was the front row, which after the first test, I was thinking they were the best thing since sliced bread. And but the one thing though, is Corbisieri came back from injury in the third test and came back with the fucking fire in his eyes, my man.
I also think that Hibbard
machine
made a
again. I agree with you. Actually, I was going to get to that. Is Hibbard in conjunction with Corbisieri up front? That was a change that nobody saw. And Hibbard is a machine. He's a big guy. He's angry. He's got some cool
and he
surfer
knocked George
hair.
Smith out in the first 10 minutes.
I don't know how Smith carried on playing. That
This
should
is beyond
be
me.
See, there's a flaw in that concussion
did you
test
see
and
his
everything.
tweet?
He
He tweeted himself. Yeah, I'm surprised I came back too. I mean, you all saw me snaking towards the touchline.
But the thing is that there's a flaw in that, because you know that if a guy goes off for concussion, he's immediately off for 2 weeks. Immediately, it's a done deal. So the guys are like, listen, go back and play for 15 minutes, and we'll pull you off for a hamstring injury or some cuck. And I mean, it's dangerous. Smith, I'm yet to see someone look as wobbly as he did, because he was goner.
No, he was only slightly better off than Christian Leilofano in the first test.
Slightly. And he's hard.
But lots of talking points that have come out of it. But the other shock horror is that then late in the early hours of Sunday morning, Obiba and Beale are spotted out on the cross, in the wee hours of the end of Dingo Deans' reign. And one thing that came to mind for me was the fact that when you think about Dingo Deans and the way he was with the Crusaders, his man management style is, you're all adults, you play rugby, let's go and play rugby, train, do whatever. I'm not responsible for how you behave and what you do outside of when you're in the team environment. You're an adult. And you never had player troubles coming out of the Crusaders. He tries the same in Australia, where he's got 3 guys, and let's be honest, it's all 3 of them, because Cooper, Beale, and O'Connor have not been far from the news, and they've all 3 been involved in shit together with around alcohol-related incidents in a bar in Paris, etc. But now you've got 3 youngsters that made big money early, stardom, fame, the whole bang shoot, not managed properly. Clearly, they haven't been given some guidelines in terms of, and suddenly now, James O'Connor, arguably one of the most talented, prodigiously talented rugby players in world rugby, has had his contract cancelled by the Rebels.
Just not renewed.
Okay. The Waratahs have said, no thanks, we don't want him. The Reds have said, no thanks, we don't want him. The Brumbies have said, no thanks, we don't want him. The Force have said, we'll consider taking him if he abides by X, Y, and Z, considering the bad blood he left the Force under to join the Rebels 3 years ago. You're suddenly sitting with a situation as an Australian rugby fan where one of the best talents in your country can't find a game within your country, and they don't pick overseas players. Now, for him to go and continue his career and earn money,
and he'll still be contracted to the ARU as well, incidentally, which means, and we discussed this all with when Cooper wanted to go to league, and if he still wanted to play for the Wallabies and he wasn't signed up with the Reds, etc., he has to be contracted to the ARU to play in Super Rugby. That's how their contracting works. However, when the Rebels decide not to renew his contract, he's still, as far as I know, under contract with the Australian Rugby Union, and therefore he can't really play anywhere else unless they come to some form of agreement.
Yeah, well, but he's now going to be sitting. Well, I mean, someone will snap him up, but if he ends up playing for the Kings next year.
But the thing is, I want to know why. I think it all does come down to, and when they were
brat.
Yes, and when they were out until stupid o'clock, which
on a weeknight,
yes,
in between tests.
Relatively important ones as well, I might add.
It's just
is the guys, and I would hate to know the senior players in that side how pissed off they are, because in my mind and in their mind in old school days, you're like, dude, you made a massive mistake. You're not playing on Saturday. But because Dingo cut off his nose to spite his face, he did not have that opportunity, and also he had about 6,000 injuries. However,
no, absolutely.
I'm not saying however again.
But the simple fact is, as you say, Dingo backed himself into a corner, and
injuries hurt him.
But essentially it meant that he had to let Beale and Obiba do as they pleased, much to the disdain of many in the camp, because it's come out since. I mean, Scott Higginbotham has basically said good riddance to him in terms of the Rebels.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of other coaches, etc.
I'd like to.
Michael Chica said no thanks.
I'd like to have a sort of dig deeper and find out more, because everyone's been focused on Beale and Cooper, because everyone's been talking about that and some injuries. No one's been talking about O'Connor. The only way we've been talking about him saying he should rather be playing 15 or maybe 12. So I'm interested to dive in a little bit more and to see what happens. But well done to the Lions. That was an exceptional win to close out the game the way they did, for the controversy with team selection beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Gatland under so much pressure to come out, and for basically Gatland to stand in the middle of the field and give everyone the middle finger was phenomenal. I thought the centre pairing was great. I'm a massive fan.
And did he not have a go about the vitriol that came his way about dropping O'Driscoll in the post-match interviews?
I missed that.
He basically said
I was a little Guinnessed out.
He basically said, well, in the days after, at some point, he said he was very disappointed in the backlash that he received and the personal attacks that came towards him.
Well, that's because he coached Ireland, so I can understand that. And everyone wants him to.
Look, and the irony is, he started O'Driscoll's career and he probably ended it.
And what a roll of honour that man's got, eh? Gatland, he's got 2 Six Nations and 1 Grand Slam, or I think they might both be Grand Slams. I'm not entirely sure.
World Cup semi-final.
Semi-final. He's got a Lions Tour. He's got a Heineken Cup. He's got 2 Viva Premiership titles, and he's made it very, very clear that the Lions have what it takes to beat New Zealand in 4 years, and he wants to coach them. So I think, and I said many months ago, this is going to be a great tour. I was so excited for the Lions. I thought it'd be really good, and it was. And I'm looking forward to the next one. It should be good fun.
Indeed. Well, we've only got 4 years to wait. In between that,
It's crazy, yeah?
in between that, there's a World Cup.
Oh, that too.
That'll do. And
I wouldn't know.
certain
Gatland will go somewhere for the World Cup.
and a certain rugby championship. Well, I think Gatland will stick with Wales for the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think he's got unfinished business there.
I agree. I think the Rugby Championship is going to be an interesting little soiree for Ewan McKenzie in Australia.
Time will tell. Anyway, that's the end of another Lions series. It's back to all action Super Rugby this weekend. In the last of the round robin, before we say goodbye to 8 of the sides and we go into the top 6. But before we get talking about that, we are going to play a little bit more music. When we come back, it'll be Super Rugby for the remainder of the show. You are listening to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. Welcome back to Driving Maul. Mr. Mojo rising from
Thanks
the
for the
doors
heads up.
there, but I was like, that's enough of that. Let's get on with some rugby speak. Super Rugby. It is almost time for a full weekend of Super Rugby. And you know what? I mean, we've been cracking chirps about Super Rugby properly because no Aussie sides were playing this, that and the next thing. But we need to just point out that the Brumbies are the third highest try scorers in Super Rugby this season, and the Waratahs are the second highest try scorers in Super Rugby this season, while the Rebels are right up there as well. It's just the Force that are the worst. But what it has meant, just in terms of just some interesting stats that I picked up, in terms of the top try scorers, Israel Folau, Henry Spate, Cam Crawford are second, third and fourth in the try scoring charts for Super Rugby, and we're all lambasting the Aussie sides for being not entertaining.
I didn't want to say anything to you for the last couple of weeks because you've been harping on about how this is Super Rugby proper, blah de blah. But it's just one name, Israel Folau. He's been unbelievable, and you know that the AOU have not signed him onto a long-term contract yet, and there's massive talk of him going to league next year because they have lots of dollar to throw around. Henry Spate as well has been great for the Brumbies, and I tell you what, are they playing each other this weekend? No. Tars and the Reds.
But
going to be a
Falau's
cracker.
not playing anyway because he pulled a hammy in the Test match.
I still don't think he would have helped Australia too much if he was on, but I'd like to see. I think he could have got a try too.
No, we don't know. We'll never know.
Oh, thanks for that. Let's state the obvious. Yes.
But let's get on to the roundup of last week's results. And my by 5 theory is just being smashed weekly at the moment.
Good sheep.
But what do you mean sheep? I created the theory.
Don't
How can I be
talk
following myself?
Don't talk cuck to me.
I'll find all my research and I'll show you my numbers.
But
and
you were moaning last year about the guy that did the by 7.
The 7, yeah,
Okay.
totally. But
you shut your mouth.
since I've discovered...
No, don't come with this guy.
No, but he was just bullshitting. I actually went and checked it out. But we thought it might be the game of this weekend. It ended up being a bit of a one-sided no-show. The Crusaders absolutely pounded the Chiefs. 43-15.
Crazy. Daniel Carter on another planet.
And Israel Dag looked to be hitting his straps again for the first time in a
he
long
hasn't
time.
since the World Cup. He hasn't been performing, and it's been a bummer because I really am a massive fan of him at fullback. He was dropped a few times this season, and I think a couple of times he wasn't even in the starting lineup.
Well, he was back to his Dag best on Saturday. I mean, hitting the line at pace, inside breaks, outside breaks, handoff, stepping, pop passes. It was the full Monty from Izzy Dag.
And Daniel Carter was on form as well, and the forwards were doing their business, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Kieran Reid 2 tries, Israel Dag, Crotty and Tyler Blindall with the rest. Tikera Tuma and Nagatai for the Chiefs to give them some semblance of respectability in terms of actually getting on the scoreboard.
15 against 43 is not.
Not at all. And then, damn those Highlanders winning by 5. I just picked the wrong team.
They were unbelievable. Did you watch that game?
Bits and pieces, to be honest.
Full-time score, 49-44. And the Highlanders played away. The only team not to win away from home leading into this game, so they fortunately hustled away from a record. They were destroying the Canes. They were absolutely destroying them. The Canes scored 2 or 3 tries in about 10 minutes to make the game exciting, and I thought the Canes might sneak their way back, but couldn't believe it. I mean, how many tries in that game?
11 tries, and nobody got a double.
Sure.
That might be some kind of record as well. 11 different try scorers.
Do some research on it. Maybe you can tell us next year.
Yeah, let's see. Where's my pen? Give me your pen. There's my pen. Fuck off. Pen committed harikiri. But yeah, 49-44, 6 tries to 5. My 5-pointer would have been right there if I'd actually picked the Highlanders, and I didn't pick the Highlanders for the exact reason that you said in the lead up to that. They hadn't won away from home all season. It was like, why would they go and do it now? But they will, because they're the Highlanders and they like to fuck with Super Brew.
Correct. But I tell you one thing: the highlights of that game for me, beside the fact that it was a great game, was Brad Thorne's interview post match. Was phenomenal. There was just this look of relief on his face, and he's like, I don't actually want to be here, I want to go celebrate. And the guy kept asking him questions, and he was like, yeah, okay.
He really does try and shut an interview down as quickly as possible, doesn't he? Every time I've ever seen him, yeah.
Don't want to be here.
Keep on fishing, son. We're not biting.
And then we had an intercontinental game.
Yeah, and the Blues end up losing 5 on the bounce after a rather promising start to the season.
To the Cheetahs, which makes me happy.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, 34-13, it was a lot closer than that. It was 2 tries in the last few minutes by the Cheetahs to run away with it. Philip van der Walt, Sarah Pretorius and Boom Prinsloo with their tries. Jamison, Gibson, Park for the Blues. But what it does mean is Vrystaat are in a Super Rugby playoffs for the first time ever.
I'm very happy about this, and a few weeks ago I did explain to you why. I think in terms of SA Rugby, getting the guys, more people, more players exposed and more unions exposed to playoff rugby will grow our rugby. I'm very happy, and they do deserve it this year. I thought after their performance against the Stormers, I was a bit worried. I was wondering how they'd bounce back. Clearly very well. And I'm happy for them. They must... But we were just chatting now about who they're going to play, and it's just a lottery. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that now. The Yawn Fest of the weekend: Stormers 24, Southern Kings 12. 2 rolling maul tries for the Stormers. It's surprise.
No bonus points.
No bonus points. 2 rolling maul tries. Although the second one was actually a fine individual effort by Dion Farrigas. The maul had broken down, and he took off on his own. And I wasn't actually watching, so I couldn't tell you much more.
And even Esabeth, a bit of spice and getting involved in some shit again.
And people are talking about baiting him again this weekend. I'm like, let bait him. I want him to be playing on the edge. That's what you want. That's what you want in that kind of a lock. It's like he needs to be pushing the envelope weekly.
And then
scaring the bejesus out of people. Bull Sharks.
Sad.
Slugfest. My shattered nerves. My try of the weekend, that first one by Pat Lambie, that was right up there for me.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that he was playing 12, Butch was playing 10, was a little chip over the top, collected by Volvo, and Lambie kept following, took the inside pass and scored. There were other great tries scored. There were a couple by the Lions, but that was mine. But yeah, the Bulls stole it at the end, 20 points to 19.
They didn't steal it. They were in the lead. The Sharks lost it. The Sharks left 16 points on the field.
It's been the highlight of their season, lowlight of their season.
Shit.
They've left countless games on the field this season.
Absolutely bummed. It was great to see Lambie playing well at 12. We haven't seen him play at 12 for 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was might have been 2011, so maybe it's 2 and a bit years. And it was great to see him operating well at 12, and obviously with the experience of Butch James at fly half. But then Butchie,
get in there,
as per normal. Yeah. the 12 weeks, bud. Yeah. There you go. There's one coat hanger. Sit.
Tweet of the week was, do you think the citing commission's got Butch's number on speed dial?
But wow, that was that actually popped up on Twitter on Sunday. I normally pop up your moment of the week. I popped up a moment of the week, a try of the week, and your what the fuck of the week, Butchie. won everything hands down except the try. I think Jamie Roberts for me gets try of the week. The angle he ran, I thought that was absolutely phenomenal, and the space that game was in at the moment was very important. But so you've taken Lambie, and I'm going to take Jamie Roberts.
Yes, indeed. What it means is that the top 6 are sorted, done and dusted, with a week to go.
But
everybody can still finish all over the place. Quite literally, the only thing that can't change is who tops the South African Conference. The Bulls have won the South African Conference. The Cheetahs cannot finish above them. That's done and dusted. However, the Crusaders, if they win with a bonus point and the Chiefs lose, will end up above the Chiefs. The Brumbies, if they lose and the Reds win, will end up with the Reds stealing top spot in the Aussie Conference for the second year running in the last game.
Shit.
By the same token, if the Reds lose and the Cheetahs pick up their bye point, which they will, the Cheetahs can finish 5th, which means the Reds will be 6th. And then the Crusaders. You've got no idea. Like we were saying off air, the Cheetahs have got to buy. You'd think, well, get on a plane, go to Australia.
No. You said get on a plane. They've got 2 weeks to travel, go to Australia. I'm like, but they can. Well, I didn't say they could, but I said, what happens if they can still play the Bulls? And you're like, they can't. So I'm like, oh, they might be. Imagine going to Sydney and then after Saturday night, the guys are listen. Here's your boarding pass. We're actually flying back home.
Yeah. So at the moment, any one of the Bulls, Chiefs, Brumbies, Crusaders, and Reds can still finish. Sorry, the Bulls are top and... the Chiefs can finish top, the Bulls can finish top, the Brumbies can finish top, the Crusaders can finish top of the New Zealand Conference, but the Chiefs can also finish top of the New Zealand Conference. The Reds and the Brumbies can both finish top of the Australian Conference. However, the Reds and the Crusaders can't get above the Bulls in terms of
I've
number one.
got it written down in front of me and I still don't understand what you're saying.
No, exactly. But the point is that even though the top 6 is decided, it's all still down to who's getting the buys and who's playing in the semi-finals.
Just one thing, just to go back on the one other reason why I was so bummed about the Highlanders, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why I was so pissed off that the Highlanders won, and the one reason was because it actually that put them above the Kings on the log.
Yes,
that's what pissed me off more than anything.
Indeed, but the Kings still scored more tries than the Force this year, so we'll give them that. And they only scored 2 less than the Stormers, which they gave away to the Stormers this weekend.
And the Rebels are away at the Highlanders. Damn it. Anyway, so what's up now?
What's up now is Friday morning rugby, Crusaders Hurricanes, Rebels Highlanders.
I'm up for a massive. That is going to be massive. I think the one thing about the Canes is they've got a lot of good fights in them, and they're exceptionally good sort of towards the end of the game with some pretty decent tries. It all depends on how much Crusaders are going to put up over them in the beginning.
Rebels Highlanders, Blues Chiefs Sunday morning, Waratahs Reds, Force Brumbies.
Sunday or Saturday?
Saturday. But what it means is it's not an easy game for the Crusaders to try and get top spot. It's not an easy game for the Chiefs to try and get top spot, although the Blues are coming back from South Africa and the Hurricane season is done as well as the Blues, which means you've kind of got to go with the Chiefs and the Crusaders both picking up a win there. Rebels Highlanders, toss a coin. Excuse me.
Jeez.
Waratahs Reds, Aussie derby of Aussie derbies, with the Reds needing a win and hoping that the Force upset the Brumbies, which is unlikely. And then Sharks versus Kings. Don't be surprised for the Kings to give a bit of a showing there. And the reason I say that, Sharky, is this. Oh, come on, scroll down. The Sharks. Okay, for Saturday. Have you seen this side yet?
No.
15, Odwa Ndungane. 14, JP Peterson. 13, Louis Ludik. 12, Meyer Bosman. 11, Luazi Mvovo. 10, Rian Viljoen. 9, Charles McLeod.
Who's that outside centre?
Louis Ludik.
And JP Peterson's playing.
Yeah.
So they don't want to put Peterson at 13 and Lou Ludik at fullback. And are they what the absolute?
Rian Viljoen at 10.
This?
Rian Viljoen at 10.
I don't mind Viljoen at 10.
That's John Plumtree, Bashford and co. trying to ensure that the Southern Kings get an upset victory in the Shark Tank to really sign off.
I don't have any problem with Viljoen at 10. because I understand the injury side of things. However, with JP Peterson he's my wannabe. I think he's one of the best outside centers I've ever seen, and with someone like Lulu, who's the best fullback there, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. Odwan Ngani, are you joking with me? Seriously?
Gets better. 6-2 split on the bench.
No.
With a halfback and a certain Fred Zillinger as the cover across the back line.
Which I don't know anything about, incidentally.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go predictions.
The Kings have made a few changes as well. They've got a whole bunch of stuff that I've never seen before. But the other one I wanted to talk about, because we're going to get onto it now, because obviously it's the Stormers versus the Bulls. Just pride to play for the Bulls. For the Stormers. The Bulls looking to cement top spot, home final, home semi, blah, blah, blah. And you've ended up with a Bulls backline that reads Zane Kirshner, Akono and Dingani, JJ Engelbrecht, Francois Venter, Bjorn Besson, Mornay Steyn, Jano Vermaak, Dewald Potgieter, Jacques Potgieter, Dion Stegman, Grant Hutting, Flip van der Merwe. Grant Hutting has not he come on in leaps and bounds. Another export out of Cape Town.
Correct.
Via the Lions to the Bulls and becoming a regular. Werner Kruger, Chili Boy, Dean Greiling. Against the province side that reads here, Aplon, Gerard van der Heever, Jean de Jong, John de Villiers, that's okay, Brian de Banner, that's cool. Gary Van Aswegen, Louis Schroeder, Nizim Carr, Reinhard Alstedt, Dion Farida, Cox Steenkamp, Eben Etzebeth, Brock Harris, Sierbonga and Benny, and Stephen Ketzoff. The Bulls are going to come to Cape Town and make it ugly.
I was actually very interested to hear that Elton Yankees had been dropped. I don't know. Last week I didn't watch too much of him, but the week before he was much better than he has been. Alistair Coetzee came out and said that due to Joe Peterson's injury, they put Aplon at fullback, who's left-footed, and they want to play a territorial game against the Bulls. Obviously, you want to keep their rolling maul away from you, and you want to attack really hard and use your rolling maul to win. Blah blah blah. So what they've done is they've dropped the left-footed Elton Yankees, because clearly they think that the feet are the only thing that offer anything on the park, for a right-footed Gary van Aswegen.
Because they've got the left-footed here Aplon.
I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Having said that, I don't agree. I don't agree with the reasoning. Having said that, Gary van Aswegen has not been crap this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. The other thing, just to conspiracy theorist this whole thing on its face, is now that the Stormers cannot qualify at all, do you think maybe the Lions pull down a little like, how's it, don't you want to rest him before we play the playoffs against the Kings?
It could be possible. The other point worth noting, and most crucially I suppose out of this game, is it's Brian Habana's final Super Rugby game in South Africa for now. Time will tell whether he ever comes back and plays Stormers, for someone else. But he gets to bow out playing for his team against the team that he won 2 Super Rugby titles with at Newlands. It is also Mornay Steyn's last visit to Newlands in Super Rugby, and he is currently sitting 50 to 60 points clear of the next highest point scorer in Super Rugby for the season. So it should be entertaining to watch, but not something I'd pay money to go and see, to be honest.
But that's what's happening. We've got some decent weather on this week. We don't have any rain coming on, so maybe we're going to have some good running rugby. I think it's going to be great to see De Villiers and De Jong back against the guys, against the Bulls guys. Jan Serfontein out. They've got a new youngster in at 12. What's his name?
Swayze Venter.
Yep.
He's been playing on and off for most of the season.
Yep. New youngster up against the Springbok pairing. So looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Indeed.
And Gerard van der Heever back playing against his old side as well.
Saturday, no rain, 13 to 17 with no wind. So yeah, you might be right. Quick, let's make some predictions and then let's get on our merry way and go find some lager. Crusaders, Hurricanes. I'm going to say the Crusaders are going to absolutely smash them.
I'm hiding my picks from you because you're copying.
Crusaders by 25.
Crusaders by 7.
Rebels, Highlanders. What was that? I'm trying to decide based on the sides because I know James O'Connor's been dropped.
Really?
Yeah, he's on the bench. Angus Roberts, Jason Woodward, Tom English, Rory Sidey, Cooper Vuna, Bryce Hegarty and Nick Phipps are the backline. Gareth Delvin, his last game of Super Rugby. Fugler Stella, Jared Safi, Cadron Neville, Laurie Weeks, Jed Robinson, Nick Henderson versus Ben Smith, Kate Pokey, Jason Emery. Highlanders by 5.
Oh, I got Highlanders by 5 too. Cheat.
Blues versus Chiefs. I'm going to go with 12-point win for the Chiefs.
What? Are you joking? Are you seriously? Would you stop copying my shit? Okay, I'll go Chiefs by 12. Reds, Waratahs, I'm going Reds by 1.
I'm going Reds by 5. No, I'm going to go Tars by 5, and Cheetahs claim 5th spot and end up having to go to Christchurch to take on the Crusaders.
Wow. You're a bearer of great news.
Tars Reds, Tars Reds.
You've just given that one.
No, I hadn't quite decided. I'm just looking at the lineups. Yeah, I was going to stick with my original one of Reds 5. Force Brumbies by 15.
Brumbies by 13.
Kings to upset the Sharks, 5 points.
You can go to hell. Sharks by 19.
Bulls by 5.
Stormers by 8.
8 gonna happen.
Okay. Why don't you go and do some research and we'll talk on next week Thursday.
We will indeed. Between now and then, don't forget to catch the final of Craven Week on Saturday to have a look at some of those names we mentioned, Innocent Radebe and Daniel Duplessis. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them in the SA Schools side come the announcement on Sunday. Excuse me. Word from our sponsors. Shark, it's been awesome.
Thank you.
Folks, you've been listening to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. We'll be back next week Thursday, same time, same place.